Coming up in this issue of Marlborough magazine, the evening of giving brought out many helping hands. Sophie Burke was there for all the action. Thanks to a special author, Marlborough now has a historical picture book. We'll introduce you to it. And 'tis the season for some tree lighting ceremonies. These stories and more are in this issue of Marlborough magazine.
Welcome to our latest Marlborough magazine. I'm Susan Loffer. Each year, the city and its restaurants and hotels get together on one very special night to raise money for one very special cause. Marlborough magazine's Sophie Burke has the story.
Nowadays, Alice knows where she's going to sleep at night. She has a job, and she knows where her next meal is coming from. But life wasn't always this predictable. Alice lived on the streets for 6 years.
When you're out there, you have no idea what's going to happen in the next day, in the next hour.
But since she moved to the Marlborough shelter, which is run by the South Middlesex Opportunity Council, or SMOC, life has gained an element of certainty. The Marlborough shelter is a dry shelter, so Alice was only eligible to stay there once she was clean and sober, which she has been for the past 2 years now.
The best part of it is, there's always someone there. If you need to talk to someone, like you're just having a rough moment, or you know what I mean? There's always someone there to help you through.
Due to the help she's received at the shelter and from other programs, Alice's attitude about life has improved since her time on the streets.
Programs help you to look at both sides of things, and they give you hope.
To make sure that the shelter is able to keep providing support for Alice and others, 1,200 members of the greater Marlborough community came out in support of the shelter at the 14th Annual Evening of Giving. This year's event was held on November 20th at the Royal Plaza Hotel in Marlborough. For the price of a $30 ticket, Evening of Giving attendees were able to sample cuisine from 28 of the finest restaurants in the area. Because the restaurants donate their food and the Royal Plaza Hotel donates its space, all of the proceeds can go directly to the shelter. This year, over $35,000 were raised. Roland Simoneau is the chairperson of the Evening of Giving committee. He played an integral role in the opening of the shelter in 1986 after a homeless man froze to death.
When South Middlesex Opportunity Council first took over the shelter, I got a call from one of the board of directors asking me if I could run a one-time fundraiser. That was 14 years ago, and I've been running them ever since.
In years past, proceeds from the event have gone into structural improvements at the shelter, such as rebuilding the bathrooms, putting new appliances and cabinets in the kitchen, installing new windows, and replacing the heating system. But due to budget cuts, last year's funds from the Evening of Giving had to be used in the daily operating expenses of the shelter.
It's good that the building's in good shape because of these the shelter got cut back 15% by the state this year. That's a lot of money. They'd have to really reach to make ends meet.
The significance of the Evening of Giving is not lost on those who attend. Can you tell me why you're here tonight at the Evening of Giving?
My husband and myself are from the Hudson area, and we're the directors of the Hudson Food Pantry, and we feel that this is a very good community event.
In addition to the array of dishes, Evening of Giving attendees also enjoyed a raffle and dancing. We're here with Susan Gentili, the Director of Shelter Programs at SMOC. And Susan, can you tell me how many people the Marlborough Shelter has helped over the years?
Well, in the last year, the shelter served over 170 single adult men and women. It's not a family shelter, so it just serves single adults. But we serve at least 150 to 250 people a year.
What are some of the reasons why homelessness is going up?
I'm glad that you said some of the reasons, because there are many reasons for homelessness. Certainly the high cost of rent in Marlborough and the surrounding communities is one of the reasons. I saw a booklet that was published by the city a few months back, and it said that at a minimum wage job you have to work like 140 hours a week in order to afford a one-bedroom apartment in the city. So clearly for people who are unskilled and don't have the greatest educational backgrounds and good job skills, they're really struggling to make ends meet. So that's one of the reasons. Substance abuse is another huge impact on homelessness because people who are actively substance abusing are often not able to pull their money together and keep the roof over their head. Detox beds have been cut by over 50% in the state. I believe there were about 900 detox beds in the last fiscal year, and there are just over 400 detox beds in the state now. So when someone's actively abusing drugs and alcohol and wants to get help, they can't get that help right now. So those are some of the reasons I believe that homelessness has gone up in our area.
If the Marlborough shelter hadn't been there when Bob needed it, the results could have been disastrous. Bob stayed there 2 years ago, when he was just out of a detox program.
I could have wound up dead, could have wound up back in prison again. I'm not sure what would have happened. I just know that I'm forever grateful for it.
The sober requirement at the shelter helped keep Bob on the straight and narrow during his stay there 2 years ago, and now his life is drastically different.
I own my own business, and I'll be buying my own home, I would imagine, within the next month. And my business does very well. And I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for a place like that. I'd probably still be living in my car.
Both Alice and Bob are aware of the positive effect the evening of giving has had on the Marlborough shelter and on their lives.
It was greatly appreciated. You know, it helps a lot of people in that situation, especially in the holiday season, to know that, you know, there's people out there that care and are willing to help.
I'd like to thank them. I mean, they're stepping up to the plate to give somebody that they don't even know another shot at life. You don't have many options when you live in your life like that. There's not many places that you can go.
Yeah.
And places like the Marlborough shelter and the places after the Marlborough shelter are what give people a fighting chance and give them another chance at life.
Alice and Bob are both success stories for the Marlborough shelter. Since the evening of giving was held last month, Alice has moved out of the shelter and into sober housing. And she continues to hold down her job in the food industry. For Roland Simoneau and the Evening of Giving Committee, stories like Alice and Bob's make all the work that goes into putting on the Evening of Giving worthwhile. For Roland, it all comes down to one basic philosophy.
I don't believe anybody should sleep outdoors. They should have a place to sleep. It's as simple as that.
For Marlborough Magazine, I'm Sophie Burke.
Also in the spirit of giving, the Marlborough Public Library is now accepting canned goods in lieu of any fines you may owe. You can pay your fines on any overdue books with canned goods or cash or any combination of the two. Going from one helpful group to another, the volunteer program at the Marlborough Hospital has played a big role in day-to-day operations. Kim Bent headed over to the hospital to spotlight some of those helping hands.
If you're a regular viewer of Marlborough Magazine, then we don't have to tell you that this city is full of people who volunteer for a variety of causes. We introduced you to Ariana Androli, who donates her time to the Boys and Girls Clubs. The people of Marlborough also united to raise money to fight cancer at this year's Relay for Life. And most recently, dozens of volunteers came together to save the Labor Day parade. Now we can tell you about a group in town who volunteer on a weekly basis over on Union Street. Over 150 people donate some of their time every month to helping this organization. And let me tell you, they're not just wearing candy stripes anymore. Those days are long gone. Today, the hospital volunteers do everything from greeting people as they enter to filing records and transporting patients.
I come in on Tuesdays, and I'm in the mail room, and I sort the mail, and then I take the doctor's mail and bring it up to the doctor's mail room and put it in their boxes.
And moving people around, doing the towels, putting different medicines in different departments and stuff like that. And now I do a lot of paperwork, making sure, just doing little odd jobs around paperwork, filing, getting things organized.
I work in two places. I work in case management, and I work in Granger too. In case management, we concern ourselves with preparing documentations for people that are leaving the hospital, not going home. They're either going to rest homes, rehab centers, or nursing homes. and you have to make up packages to go with them.
From high school students to the recently retired, these volunteers come in all different ages. Millie Blood has been volunteering for 18 years. She says that not just anyone can be a volunteer.
People, I think, that are volunteers, they love to give of themselves for others, and all of them here, in fact, a couple of them here were in their 90s and still volunteering, and you know, there's always something for somebody to do, and it's just, you know, so special, you know, that they love to give themselves away.
Many of the volunteers see this as a way to stay active and at the same time reach out to the community.
I had surgery a while back. I had two sisters who volunteered here at the hospital. And one of my sisters insisted that I was retired and I wasn't doing enough to get out. So she suggested that I come here and volunteer. And that's when I started. And I enjoyed it very, very much.
So it feels good to be needed.
It feels good to be needed. I get a great deal of satisfaction.
And it's good because you're associating with smart people, and it keeps the mind active. And that's the important thing, I think. Plus, you're doing something worthwhile.
Nancy Myers is the director of the volunteer program, and she finds her job to be very satisfying.
I can't believe that I have the best job in the world. I just love my job. I work with people who love to come here, they want to be here, and they help people. They help the staff and the patients, and so the staff is always grateful for their help, and the volunteers are satisfied with the work they're doing, and I just get to be the middleman connecting the two, and it's really fun.
The volunteers at Marlborough Hospital do the work of 5 full-time employees and save the hospital thousands of dollars. Also, most of the volunteers are local, helping the hospital maintain its identity as a community hospital.
We're a nonprofit community hospital that offers a service to our neighborhood, and I like to think of the volunteers as neighbors helping neighbors. There are people who are at the front lobby desk who are volunteers who are there to say hello and greet the patients as they come, and they get to know them. They see them, they live near them, and then they're able to say, you look like you have more color today, or things like that just make it seem more neighborly, and that helps to identify our hospital with its mission statement.
Claire Ashton has been volunteering at the hospital for 15 years as a patient representative. We asked Claire what her most common request was.
The biggest request is I want to go home. And the second request is how much money have you got to spare? Like $1 million. I've had requests for new stomachs, new legs, things like that there. But the biggest request is I want to go home.
For a large group of diverse people, they all have one thing in common.
I like to help people. It doesn't really matter if I get paid and stuff like that. I just like to know that I'm doing good somewhere.
If you're interested in volunteering at Marlborough Hospital, contact Nancy Myers at 508-481-5000. For Marlborough Magazine, this is Kim Bent.
Marlborough is one of the most historic areas in the state. There are pictures floating around that date back to some of the city's earliest days. Now, thanks to a local librarian turned author, many of those photos won't slip through the cracks.
If you're a history lover, especially a lover of local history, you should check out a new book called Images of America, Marlborough. The book was written by local author and librarian Susan Alatalo and contains a pictorial history of the city.
Local history's been a passion of mine ever since I guess I got out of high school, and it seems a shame to see lots and lots of beautiful photographs and learn these really interesting facts about a city such as Marlborough, and then not be able to really share it. Old photographs and artifacts are very, very fragile. So by having a book form for not just young people, but also anybody who's interested in history, it just seemed like a good way of preserving a lot of the legacy that's in our area.
With photos from the 19th and 20th centuries, the book is divided into 10 chapters, each covering an important topic in Marlborough's history. For instance, in the chapter entitled Shoetown, you will find pictures of some of Marlborough's old shoe factories along with many of the factory workers. Chapter 8 is titled How to Play the Game and contains numerous pictures of sports teams of days long past. Susan showed us some of her favorites.
Okay. The front of City Hall, right on the steps, seems to be the site of a lot of activities and therefore photographs. Here people are watching a parade and they're the dignitaries of the time. Then there's another great shot in here in the war chapter of when peace has been announced. And this is in 1918, in front of City Hall. It's just so moving to see everybody crammed into the streets when war was over. So, there's another one that shows City Hall when you're, as if you were inside City Hall and looking down, and the pillar is showing. I thought that was a pretty unusual angle. You're looking at Main Street and there's some work being done on City Hall's facade. So, some of the buildings across the street are still there.
As you flip through the pages, you never know who you might find. Perhaps you'll recognize a few of the faces or see an old relative. Or perhaps it's the old butcher shop your grandmother used to talk about. Wherever your interest lies, this book has something for everyone and is available at all the local bookstores. For Marlborough Magazine, I'm Sophie Burke.
This year's Home for the Holidays had a special footnote. It was Bill Morrow's final tree lighting as mayor of Marlborough. We're going to leave you tonight with a look at some of the festivities from this local tradition.
As the mayor, in my last year on being as mayor, I just want to say thank you. It's been a great pleasure working for everyone. I will miss coming to lighten the tree, but I'll be in here and watch someone else light it. And with that, I just want to say thank you to Santa Claus coming here this evening. Santa, hi! So, we all believe in Santa Claus. So we'll go on a count of 3. We'll light the tree. All ready? 1, 2, 3. Very good. Have a Merry Christmas and a very healthy New Year.
Rudolph, there is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
I propose 3 cheers for those we leave behind.
Congratulations. It's in paper now. Good job. Congratulations. Proud of you. All right. Ensign Elliott. Who's going to salute him? Guys, who gets to salute him first?